Hi everyone, I'm Kylie from EDMArmy. We're kicking off a new series called Ones to Watch, focusing on telling the real stories behind artists. So, Sippy, thank you so much for being a part of this. We're super excited to have you. And
Thank you
let's
for
get
having
into
me.
it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I want to start off with your sound because it's honestly incredible. There's something about it that really feels intentional and different within the dubstep and EDM scene. What do you think makes your sound stand out like that?
Honestly, like it's harder for me sometimes to really know because I don't necessarily like notice how I sound different to other people. It's like an inherent like thing when I go to write music. It's just like it feels like specific choices just make sense to me. But I do think like a lot of my music writing now is very intentional. I don't feel like I can just write songs without any ammo behind it. And,
Hmm.
sometimes the ammo can be very like deep and meaningful, and sometimes it can be very silly goose, but it always is like intentional. And I think that makes a big difference, or at least like I started doing that just purely on my own, like for my own enjoyment. But now, obviously, it's become something that people can expect from me when it comes to, my sound and writing music. There's always like some kind of story or intention behind the music.
Absolutely. And I know I've read in some previous articles that Zed Stead was someone that was a hero and an artist that was very inspirational to you, especially the song Eyes on Fire. With that,
Mhm.
what how did that come to you? Was it just you were shuffling on SoundCloud and you found it, let's say? Did a friend show it to you? What was the huge inspiration behind that song?
So that one was actually shown to me from friends. Like I very much remember the moment I was at this like my friend's boyfriend's house. We were all just like hanging out, and they got like UKF up on like YouTube, and they played me that like Zed's Dead song, and I had never heard anything like it. I was like probably like 14, 15 years old, and I was like, what is this? Like I had never heard of dubstep or anything like that. So like I heard that, and I just was like, they were like, yeah, it's this genre called dubstep. And I was like, whoa, like, like it was a very like I specifically like remember that moment. And yeah, I don't know, in that moment, especially, it was like, again, nothing I'd ever heard. So it was so like memorable to me in that moment.
With that, did that help you inspire to create what your sound is today?
Yeah, I think like that was also like, now over the years after that, I obviously like went in and explored all sorts of different sides of dubstep. But I feel like that song in particular for me was something that was a bit more aligned with what I was listening to that wasn't electronic music. It was kind of, for some reason, there was some crossover between that and like the bands that I was listening to. So I think like that kind of showed me like that was definitely very like inspirational in terms of like writing music that wasn't necessarily like hard dubstep, and a little bit more like, I guess, easy listening dubstep. It was kind of the music that I would listen to when I was just like driving home from like
Yeah.
school or work or whatever it was. And I think like that, I did definitely dive into a lot of different subgenres like after that. But I think like specifically that sort of style, very like, I don't know, very much like in that Zed's Dead world is where I was like, oh, this is music that I feel like I can really, like dive into and create in a sense of like, this is kind of like my home a little bit. Like this kind of
It's like your
tonality
place
is
in
like,
solace. It gave you
yeah,
that
yeah,
expandability to be able to do it. That's really awesome. That is awesome.
definitely.
I also saw something that I absolutely love about you and something that was so adorable to see. It was last year around March. You headlined your first show in New York and you built your own stage. What was the
Yes.
feeling behind that? Did you want to do that for a while? Like, what was the most highlighted moment that you took on while, experiencing more of that, getting, as a DJ artist, you want to expand doing more things with it. It's just picking up a camera and trying to do your own media, let's say, or, taking on the
Yeah.
role of building the new stage. What was it like?
Yeah. I think like that was also kind of around the point that I started to get back to being a lot more intentional when it came to everything that I do. I think I first moved to America and, it was very overwhelming for me. It was kind of, it was very intense. I also like had this big fear of not succeeding. I think because like coming from Australia over here, you do sacrifice. I mean, everyone sacrifices generally, but like, I felt like I sacrificed a lot. I missed my home and my family in Australia. So I was like, well, if I'm going to America, I really have to like fucking make it. It has to be this, like it has to happen for me. And so I think in having that mentality, I kind of went into this like fear mode where I was like, I've got to do the right thing. And so like I'm just gonna like play by the rules and do everything that everyone says and listen to everyone and that sort
Yeah.
of thing. And I think when it came to that show, like I'd been working with this artist coach. He's like a life coach for artists, Nick Cherwink. And he kind of got me back in my headspace of just trusting myself and not doing things so much out of fear. So when I had these shows that came up, it was like, okay, these are the headline shows. We don't really like have a budget for you to do anything crazy production wise. And so I was used to being like, okay, well, I'm being told no, and you can't really do anything creative. You've got this much money and that's it, sort of thing. And I think like he had got me into the headspace of like, okay, well, like work with what you've got and like do things again out of like love and intention. And I think at that time I was like, okay, these are the constraints I have. How can I turn this into something that I'm really excited about? Something that I'm
Yeah.
really passionate and excited about. And I think that was when I was like, okay, well, this is like, obviously, this is what I want to do if I had like unlimited amount of money. How can I do that in like the constraints of this? And I started getting really DIY with it. And I was like, okay, well, like, I want to create this rabbit hole. So, how can we create this rabbit hole in a way that's, achievable? And it turned out to be such a like fun, creative project where I literally was like, okay, like, let's order from Home Depot, like, the, artificial grass. Let's build the actual stage to be something that we can attach this to. Like, let's buy like some spray paint and get like the logo in there. Let's like do it with me and my friends. Like I literally like cut out the stencils for it myself where I was like, okay, like I'm gonna cut these stencils. I'm gonna like my friends are gonna be there. We're gonna make it like a fun experience, like all together, it's gonna be like a whole thing together. And I think like from that moment, I wasn't necessarily even thinking about how other people would perceive it. It became more about this is what's making me passionate about this show.
Yeah.
This is what's making this show a different show for me. And I think like when I did all of that, it translated to everyone coming to the show because they could see that I was like into, like I was putting my heart and soul into it,
Yeah.
and so many DJs play, like we play so many shows in so many cities. So it can become a bit impersonal. Well, not impersonal, but like, like it can be a bit like, okay, different city, whatever. And I think for me, like, even though there are so many shows in so many cities, like, and again, like this is even just like a personal thing for me. Like I want each show to be, to be important and to have its own weight. And if that just means that I meet like a few people in person there that make me remember, playing in Cleveland, Ohio that time, or playing
Yeah.
in, like Portland, Oregon, or wherever the show is, that makes it memorable, even if it's not like the biggest show, like the show I played in New York was not like a massive show, but it was so memorable. And at the end of the show, like we were packing it all down. And I remember having this moment where I was like, you know what? Like, we're packing up the grass and all this sort of stuff that we just spent hours creating from nothing. Like we literally had to like drag it down into the subway to spray paint it
Oh
because it was
my
so like
gosh.
it was like it was very New York and it was so much fun. Like I remember like the whole thing was just so much fun. Like it was chaotic but so fun. And like at the end of the night, like we were going to pack it up and I was like, why are we packing this up? Like, let's give this to everyone who's here. So we actually like,
Stop. That is
yeah, so we actually got
amazing.
like this box cutter and cut out all the stuff that we spray painted, we just cut them out and gave it to people because it was like, you came here, you were part of this moment, and this moment is it, like we're not doing this again.
That just
Like,
gave me
you
chills. That is
know,
incredible.
yeah. And so like literally on my wall in my apartment, I have a piece of the grass like cut out and like stuck up on my wall, as like a bit of a memory. And I really love, like, especially at the moment where everything is so hectic, like I really love like living in the moment and like really making something out of these moments and making them memorable,
Absolutely.
no matter what we have at our disposal, like just like being there and being in the moment. So I think that show was kind of the start of me really understanding that even deeper.
Wow, that's
And don't get me
incredible.
wrong, I can't always be building stages, and that's not like always what it's like, but I feel like at every show I still like to have those moments that make it, make that connection feel like intentional in some way.
Absolutely. I mean, like, take even like ravers in the community, for instance, even if it's a small show and or a big festival, and especially now these days, people are putting in so many intentional gifts, and it could be as small as a candy. Or for instance,
Hmm.
myself, I start giving out blank journals when I go out to these shows, and I have a
Oh,
little pen
that's
for
really
them. So
sweet.
it's something that people can sit there if they want to write a to-do list, even as simple as that, or just their intentions when it
Yeah.
comes to going to these raves. So, because there's always going to be a party and there's going to be afters, but having that intention behind it is like the most intentional gift that you could give. And that's just my
Yeah.
example. But, with what you just said, every single person, if it comes to like you in the music industry and or as someone that just likes to attend these shows and
Yeah.
festivals, every single person finds a way in some small manner per show to be able to do this. And it's not like we go to maybe 1 to 2 shows a year. A lot of people go to a
Yeah.
lot of them.
Yeah.
And you notice
Yeah.
that every single one has a way to find intention through that show, no matter what, if it's at small or
Yeah.
big. So it's really cool to see.
Yeah. I think that's like something that I'm quite passionate about at the moment too, because of everything, the state of the world, social media, like
Yeah.
everything. And I think for me, it's like I really love like living in the moment and being a part of it and creating things that are memorable. And even if it's this just that, like, even if it's just little moments that I see someone in the crowd and they're having a good time and we have that like one moment where even we connect. Like I had a show in Cleveland on the weekend and like, I had a lot of fun. I met like a lot of people. It was really fun. It was a club show. It wasn't like crazy big, but like, there was a moment, for example, where this guy, like he was in the middle of the crowd, just like doing this like dance to one of these songs. And I was like, this is like, I fucking love that this moment, like, whatever reason, it just makes it so intentional and memorable. And like, also, as you can see in my studio, like I keep like all the
Absolutely.
gifts that I
Yes.
get from people because again, like it's so, no matter how big or small, like it's intentional. And even though like I know some people are a bit like, oh, that's really like random or whatever. But for me, I'm like, it's not even about that. It's very much like, especially if it's something that someone's put thought behind. Like there are some things where I'm like, oh wow, like you really like, it's not just a random whatever. Like you really like put
Yeah.
thought behind this and wanted to intentionally give it to me. And like,
Yeah.
again, that's something I really love. I'm actually like right now I'm making this I don't even maybe I shouldn't talk about that actually. I'm making a project out of the gifts that I've been given. So I'll just say that. But
What?
I'm making a project out of the gifts that I've been given. And it's really like it's very exciting. Like I don't even
I'm
know what
working
I can
on
show for
something
you.
like that too. I haven't like full
Really?
on put together what I want to do, but I have too much and I
Yeah.
need to like
Well,
compile them
I
into
can't even like
something.
put it all out because oh shit, because it's like halfway through, but it's like I'm making like a
Oh,
whole
oh,
thing
it's
out
it's
of it. And I'm
coming.
like, I
It's a
was
little
about to pick it
sneak
up and I was
peek.
like, yeah, I'm like, I don't want to like wreck this because then that's gonna be hours more of
Oh yeah. Oh
putting it
yeah.
together. Anyway, sorry, that was such a random like
No,
sidetrack,
I
but
love that. We'll cut it. We'll cut it.
yeah,
But with
yeah.
that being said, do you think that someday you'd want to expand on that? For instance, throwing your own festival or creating your own space?
Definitely. Like I have a very clear picture of what I want to do as this like builds out. Like I very much know, once I'm at those like big stages, how I want to do it and what I want to do. It's obviously more a stage of like, okay, well, how do I execute that when I don't have the size, the budget, and everything like that. I have so many like exciting ideas and ways that I want to create like very intentional experiences, you know, as things grow. And honestly, I'm very much looking forward to like building that, you know, like there's some things that I have like coming up towards the end of the year and into next year where I can start sort of jumping into some of those experiences. Like I would obviously love to have my own like festival and things like that. And I already have so many ideas of like,
Hmm.
you know, the little bits and pieces that I've picked up along the way that I'm like, oh, I'd love to do my own version of like that sort of concept. And yeah, so I'm really excited to kind of build that out.
If you were to choose, would you have your first festival in Australia or in the US as like your
I think
first
in the
festival?
US.
Yeah,
Yeah, in the
really.
US. I mean, I love Australia, but I think what I want to build, I think would translate so well over here in terms of like, I feel like I've experienced like me partying in Australia has been quite different to me, like raving over here. There's been so many things that I've learned kind of like because I learned, you know, like I started like raving in Australia or like going to shows in Australia. It's a very different like kind of culture than over here. So when I came over here, I was learning a lot of things like after years of being into the music. So I think
Mm,
I kind of carry that excitement for the scene that some people are so used to. You know, they've been going to raves since they were like 15, so they're like, oh, like this is like not new to me. Whereas for me, I'm like, this is really exciting. So I kind of have this like new passion for it. And so I think that's why like putting my, if I did my first festival here, like there would be that kind of energy for that sort of side of things.
that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And obviously, your glasses are a huge part of your iconic staple piece, which we all love. What
Yeah.
is the story behind it? How did those glasses come about into your life?
Yeah. So honestly, those glasses is super random, but I was playing at Base Canyon and I had a photographer, Hoku. He you know, we were just like walking around the festival, like he was like filming me and stuff. And then I was playing a set and I like turned around and he's like got the camera, but then he's like he had the camera shooting me, but he had these like big fuzzy glasses on. And I was like,
Hmm.
where the hell did you get that? And he was like, I found them on the ground. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, I asked everyone around whose they were because I wanted to give them back, but like no one answered. So I don't know, I guess they're mine now. So then they just became like a thing that we wore over the weekend. Like people would just chuck them on and like have fun with them. And
That
then
is
I guess because I was
awesome.
like playing sets, you know, sometimes I would have them on while he was like filming. And so they just kind of became this like fun, silly thing that we would just like wear. And yeah, I guess now they've just become something that like, I don't know, I really love putting them on. Sometimes it feels like having them on makes me feel like I can really not think about. I used to get a little bit self-conscious about being like that silly up on stage, you know, because I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, well, like I'm in front of people and like everyone's looking at me. So if I do something silly, like people be like, you know, what the hell is she doing? Whereas now,
Hmm.
like, especially when I put those glasses on, I'm like, it almost feels like I have permission to just like not think and just like
It's
be
your place of
myself.
safety of that one small thing, you
Exactly.
know. It could be like someone's unlucky sock that they don't wash, like yours is your glasses, which is
Yes.
so
Yes,
awesome.
exactly.
I
A hundred
actually,
percent.
Hoku's one of my friends, so I don't know if you've seen this picture in a while, but I do have
Ah,
the
yes.
Polaroid picture.
So this is the thing. So we had it at Base Canyon, and
Hmm.
then so at Base Canyon, like one of the women, Mary, who like is like head of artist relations at like for all the Excision events. Her and her team work really hard, but she, you know, she was having a day. It was like, you know, it's a big festival, it's a lot to run. And like I went in to talk to her and I was like, I want to give you these because I feel like they'll make you feel happy. You know what I mean? Which was like
Yeah.
great. And she was like, this is amazing. But then, like, after I gave them to her, like, when we had our next, like, when I went to Lost Lands or whatever, I was like, damn it, now we don't have like the fuzzy glasses anymore. And I thought it was like, you know, we thought it was just like a one time thing where I was like, oh, we just put them on. But I was like, I miss them. So anyway, I ended up buying like my own pair, like, found them online, bought a pair. And I got on the bus to go into Lost Lands, and Hoku was already on the bus. And I was like, oh my God, hi, da da da. And I was like, you'll never guess what I got. And he was like, you'll never guess what I got. We both went into our
No
bag and we
way.
both pulled out like a pair of glasses. And I was like, this is fucking like crazy. Because we hadn't talked to each other about it at all since like base camp. And it's
Wow.
like months in
Yeah, that's
between too. Like,
months.
yeah. Anyway, and so, obviously like that photo, that was at like taken at Lost Lands. We had the glasses. And then that was also the like festival where the bunny head became a thing. And it was purely because like a fan had made me this like crocheted bunny hat, and I got it the day before I flew out for Lost Land. So I was like, I'm going to take this at Lost Land so that I can like put it on and be in the crowd and be absolutely unhinged and no one will know it's me. Obviously that didn't last long because people found out pretty quick that it was me. And, like it was, yeah, part of all of that. But yeah, the glasses definitely like just all of it happened like so organically, which I don't know, makes it really fun because even now with the brand, I don't feel any pressure where I'm like, oh, I have to wear them or I have to wear the bunny head. Like I can just like do it as it feels natural, which is really
Yeah.
awesome.
That's awesome. That is an incredible
Yeah.
story. I
Yeah.
love that. I'll definitely have to say. I was like, yeah, I just talked to her. That was so
I
awesome.
love Hoku. I
He's
miss him so much.
incredible.
He's the best.
He's an incredible person for sure. All right.
Yeah.
Well, coming back to you as well, I'm still growing in MySpace myself, and I've had a lot to work through personally while trying to build something at the same time. And I know a lot of younger,
Mhm.
incredible people are also at this exact standpoint. How do you balance touring, your personal lives, and relationship?
Honestly, like it is really tough. Like it honestly is very tough. I don't think we talk about it a little bit, but it's like I will say, especially as a touring artist, like
Hmm.
it is not conducive to like a healthy lifestyle. And I think a lot of people think that in terms of like partying and drugs and that sort of thing. But as someone who is pretty like I'm pretty like not reserved isn't the right word. Like I'm pretty like disciplined when it comes to things like that. Like I'm not really I'm a fairly healthy person
Yeah.
that's not going too crazy on that side of things. And still, even with that, it is really tough because, you don't have any sense of routine. I like even right now when I'm thinking about it, for the past 8 weeks, every weekend I've been flying to a different city, whether it's 1, 3, 5, like however many I have in each week. I'm only at my own house for a few days of the week. It's really hard to keep a routine. It's a lot of work to stay like mentally and emotionally, in check. So it is really hard to balance it all. I think I'm still learning it. I keep getting to next levels where I feel like, okay, like I'm a lot more relaxed and I've got it and all this sort of stuff. But then, I'll have a moment where I'm like, wow, I'm really, I haven't been looking after myself as well as I thought I was, then
Oh,
things
yeah.
will creep up. And especially like nowadays, there's so much going on in the world. And I think, I think I'm not saying this from it's like really hard for me to articulate this side of things because a lot of the times too is like DJs and musicians, we have to have we have an outward facing kind of persona, and a lot of like really hard and heavy shit comes up. And I do think that sometimes people are very quick to judge, to comment, to um, give their opinion about who you are and what you stand for and all of these things without any conversation, without any understanding. And a lot of the times it's because they themselves don't really have anything to lose,
Yeah.
like they're kind of they're feeling frustrated about their life or the world or any hardships that are going on. And they sometimes people do want to like take that they want to put that anger somewhere. And
Yeah,
unfortunately, I think that anger does get directed into the wrong places, into the wrong people. And, for them, it's like, okay, like they feel like they maybe are achieving something in that, but really, like, I'm just saying this, like, after seeing this from like other like artists who are like,
absolutely.
I know sometimes like the personal life of some of these artists and seeing what they go through, and then seeing, for example, like some backlash they get for whatever reason. And I'm like, me knowing the whole back end of their lives, I'm like, I can't believe that, people are coming at you for, for this sort of thing when like they have no idea like who you
Absolutely.
are,
Yeah.
what you're going through, and it's really tough to kind of balance. Sometimes it's hard to separate things. Sometimes it's hard to, we become so encompassed in the scene and our world, and sometimes that's also not healthy. It's
Oh yeah.
like people talk about a work life balance. When you are doing this, it does become all encompassing, and sometimes I encourage people, I'm like, hey, like, just take a moment to separate yourself and like, like, be in the moment. If that is like, something completely normal, like I do a lot of things that are not at all, that feel like, I guess, like normal day things, where it's like I will go to my coffee shop without my phone. I'll go talk to the barista about their day, like just have like those interactions, because I feel like people at the moment, especially, like there's so much going on in the world. The
Yeah.
world at the moment is a really like volatile place. And I think people like, and you can get really caught up in how volatile it is. It is very easy to be angry, upset, anxious, scared. Like it's so easy to get into that.
Yeah.
And I think like, I try and make more of an effort to give myself the opportunity to get out of that, even if it's just
Hmm.
for 10 minutes. I think it's a really hard balance for everyone. For me personally, I like the album I released, Scars in Stereo, like I was at a point where I was like, everything is so volatile and I'm feeling all these feelings, but I'm seeing the ways that other people are like letting it out. And I was like, that just doesn't feel like the way that I want to do it. So writing that album was very cathartic for me. That was a way for me to balance and make sense of all my feelings and emotions. And I think like at the moment, like we have to work very hard to like balance all of those things, which is hard because you're like, I don't want to work on that. I want to work on other stuff and fun stuff.
Yeah.
But, like, unfortunately, at this period of time, like, that's just kind of a bit more, it has to be a bit more of a priority for people.
Exactly. Exactly. I really love that and everything you said. It is truly difficult. And I will say I have some empathy on that as well. Every single person, whatever it could be for them specifically, puts themselves out there. And it's
Yeah.
about how you can sit there and do what's best for you. For instance, my
Yeah.
passion is media and going into that
Yeah.
passion of whatever it is on social media. And,
Yeah.
sometimes I will get hate as well. And, other people will get hate for what they do because people don't understand that, the EDM scene, this rave scene is not just about the party and the party drugs and everything that has to do with that. There's so much more intention that builds with it and helps you grow to be a person that can balance every single thing. It's really cool to think about, all of these ravers. You go to a camping rave, your first major camping festival, you realize you're learning that you're going to need to set up for survival in a way. And like
Yeah.
whatever weather it is, you learn that you have to do teamwork with your team to
Mm-hmm.
collectively make it something. You realize you have to put
Yeah.
yourself out there and talk to people. Like a lot of people don't realize, when you go to these festivals and you do it correctly in some sort of manner, it creates something that you can take on while you're home. And it's something that
Yes.
you could think off and build on collectively. And that's what I like to tell all of like my fans and all the people that come up that are all these baby ravers that, think about everything that you're going to be learning at these festivals and then
Yeah.
try and apply it into your own life, because you'll notice, oh, like, I need all of these supplies to be able to make sure that I'm good to go and bettering myself off for this weather that I'm about to hit. I also need to
Yeah.
do that in my everyday life. So that
Yeah.
just
And I
builds off
think,
on each other.
yeah. And I think, like, at the moment, there's definitely like, I know a lot of people, for example, like very much in a space where they're living like online, right?
Yeah.
And I think like when people are kind of doing that, everything becomes very black and white. Communities start to separate, and, there's no space for nuance in there. And I think like, and this is something that I really love, you go to a festival or to this is something that I very much love at my shows, and I'm seeing it more and more. Like I very much am here for the nuance. Like I don't
Hmm.
think that everything is as simple as everyone says. People are complex humans, and they live a whole different life. I mean, again, I'm from a whole different country. So me coming here, I talk to people and I'm like, you tell me about your experience, because I don't have any forethought. I don't know what
Yeah.
it means to be, whoever growing up in this circumstance or this city or whatever, environment. I don't know. Like I'm here to hear your perspective, and I can be someone who looks very different from you or lives a very different life and still very much like enjoy time with you and live alongside you. I think I love going to shows and festivals where I'm like, where it's so diverse. There are people who are
Absolutely.
old and young and gay and straight and, you know black, white, Jew, Muslim, like everything. Like
Yes.
I love that I can go to shows that are, we're all there, and in that moment, like we are there for each other. I see it a lot when I look in the crowd and I notice that like people are helping each other. People are, like I get a lot of DMs because I'm very like, I'm pretty active in my DMs. I get a lot of
Yeah.
DMs from people who are like, I'm going to this show solo. And then I see like later on how they've become friends with like a group of people because they're there solo and they've, become friends. And like I love seeing that, because for me that's about like, take when this world has become like so divisive, it's so nice to see these experiences with people, because I also see, okay, like here are some people that wouldn't have normally met or wouldn't normally approach each other or talk to each other because they come from very different worlds, and now here they are becoming friends at a show, and I know that they're taking that outside of the rave,
Oh
like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
and I love seeing that and experiencing that and seeing it in real time.
It's beautiful. At any age where you're at, it's always so beautiful to see. I'm hitting my foot half a decade into being in the EDM scene right now, and I still am just like, oh, that's gonna
Yeah.
make me tear up. Like that was the cutest thing
Yeah,
ever. It's
it
so
is. It's
amazing.
really nice. And I think, like, especially with the online world, people get too scared to like speak, I guess, like candidly, because they're so
Yeah.
used to being nitpicked over everything. But I'm like, I want to be in a world where we can talk about things with people, without like without silencing each other. I
Exactly.
want to
Feeling
I
gregarious
want
without judgment.
Exactly. And like learning each other's perspective is so important, because like none of us are the same. We're all
Yeah.
different, and we all like, have completely different experiences. And it's important to hear everyone's experiences and to try and, you might not be able to sympathize because you didn't experience that, but you can at least empathize, like
Yeah.
listening to someone's experience and understanding. And I think like for me anyway, at raves it's like the best way to experience that, because like I'll be at a show and I'll be standing next to like, you know a, a 50-year-old nurse who's like, my kids are at home and I'm here to party, and I'm like, I would never have met you, but here we are like
She probably
side
has
by
a frog
side
hat
being
on or
friends.
something silly,
Like
like decked
literally, like
out.
some, like we're being kids again, and
Oh
we're
yeah.
like, being here and like enjoying this moment together, no matter what is going on outside here, which is, to me, that's the essence of it all, like,
Yes.
because it's an
100%.
escape for a lot of people, and I think it's really, really important because a lot of people do have a lot going on, and it is, some of going to shows is a coping mechanism for a lot of people.
Honestly, I will say it is for me. Like something that I realized
Yeah.
that I think I always went to these shows growing up, like while going into college and all these festivals as a way to escape. And then I started realizing getting older that I wasn't escaping it. I was building my freedom of where I wanted it to be. And it's still doing
Yes.
that, but it's such an incredible feeling starting at, like, let's say I started at 18 years old to being
Hmm.
22 right now and just being like, wait, like the dynamic difference when you really take on that
Yes.
change and start growing up is just truly incredible. It's so
Yeah,
inspiring too.
definitely.
Well, with all of this being said, we have some very excited festivals that you're playing this year, including
Yeah.
EDC, Electric Forest. You got the Caverns on
Yes.
there, Shambhala and
Yeah.
Elements. Should we be looking for anything out in your new sets? Is there anything exciting that you're bringing into them this year?
So I have a lot of music at the moment that I'm working on. I have so EDC is going to be a completely new set. So
Oh,
I'm very excited about that one because I'm very much like building it. I'm writing a lot of music that will be heard for the first time at EDC. So I'm very excited about that. I will say like EDC, E-Forest, and Shambhala are all like have all very much been bucket list festivals for me. EDC and Shambhala more so from when I was in Australia. Like they were the two sets, like two shows that I was like, from the beginning, I was like, I need to play those. E Forest, I actually didn't really know about until I moved to America, and I found
mhm.
out about it within the first few months of living here. And that one was like, that
You have
festival
to.
is like me. Like, I was like, I have to go to that festival. So having them all for the first time this year is crazy. Elements, I'm also very excited
So
about.
you've never played EDC, E-Force, or Shambhala? Oh my gosh, that's
Or Elements
incredible.
either.
Oh
And
wow.
I haven't been to any of them either. So like pretty much
Wow.
all of those festivals I'm going for the whole weekend because I'm like, I want to I want to experience it. You know what I
We will
mean?
definitely have to meet up for those festivals. That's
Yes,
very
I will
exciting
be
for you.
out in the, and like I've had a lot of people who have talked to me about this lately because like I go out in the crowd. Like
Oh, you have to.
I'm in there. You know what I mean? And like some people know, so they expect to see me, but like other people like will just be beside me. They'll have no idea it's like me. We'll just be like hanging or whatever. And then I'll get a message like in my DMs like days later
That
being
was
like,
you.
that was you, like, and I was like, yeah, like, because I'm always wearing some fucking silly goose hat and like whatever. But I'm really excited for those festivals. EDC is the first one, so that's why that one specifically, like, and it's coming
Hmm.
up very like soon. So that one I'm, specifically making a lot of new music that's going into that one. Obviously, I will be for the other sets as well. Like all of those sets in particular are going to be very unique. They're going to be very
Hmm.
different from each other, but also very, there's a lot of unreleased music that I have, and there's only an hour per set. So, like some of them will get certain parts and some won't. EDC is obviously the one that's like quite fresh in my mind because that's like the one that's coming up the most. So I'm very like, I know what my intention is with that. I have a lot of new things that are coming out for that one, like new visuals. I have another like new surprise for that one that I can't really talk about. But like I said, I've got this like project that I'm working on that is like made from a lot of gifts that I've gotten from
That's gonna be
fans. So I'm
awesome.
really excited to have that as part of it because it essentially the intention is like I am bringing like all the love and gifts that I've received from all my fans up until this moment. I am taking that on stage with me, because
Yeah.
I want to like, obviously I am sharing it with like everyone, because I'm on stage and everyone's in the crowd, but also there are so many people that I've met who have helped me get to this point in terms of my fans who have come to my shows when there's, small rooms or like, only 50 people there and they have supported me since the start. So I wanted to kind of bring that energy out with me on stage. So
Hmm.
that's kind of the intention in this project that I'm doing for EDC as well. So yeah, I'm very excited about all of those sets. It's such a exciting year for me, and just like, I don't know, I feel like my passion for it has like very much reignited.
That's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
also leading into that, before we get into our final drop rapid questions, I know that you used to teach DJing earlier in your
Hmm.
career. What if you were, or if you had to be able to go back today in the present and DJ with all the new technology and everything that's been coming up, what would you do differently?
Honestly, I think something that I didn't do as much when I first started out is I actually didn't do, I wasn't really used to playing these like bigger shows and sets where you only have like an hour. When I came up, it was a bit more, I was in the clubs, I was warming up the crowd. I would play, and this wasn't in bass music because I used to DJ across other things as well, just for like as a working DJ.
Hmm.
I would play like 5 hour sets. So like when you're playing sets like that, it's a little bit different. So when I came to America too, like, or like, I was playing more like this is my headline show. So it was a bit of a different way of creating a set. But one thing I would have done differently at the start is, I mean, I don't really like, I'm glad I kind of learned the way that I did. And I think that made me into who I am today. But I probably would have like done a lot more preparation.
Mm.
Now I notice like, and I'm noticing this even from fans, they're saying that like, they enjoy my sets a lot more. They feel like every time I'm, one upping the last time. And I think it's because I put a lot more time and effort into my preparation for the sets, so that, I have a lot more, I don't know, like even if sometimes I'm on stage and I change my mind with what I want to play, everything is prepared really well so that it's quick and I get everything in there, and it's very like kind of intentional. I think early on I wasn't really, I was prepping music, but I was used to like, oh, I've got maybe like 2 hours so I can slowly build and do it like this and whatever. Whereas like now I'm very much like preparing everything and having multiple options, so that when I see the crowd and I see the way that they react, I'm like, oh, I want to go here, 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 here. And it creates like a really fun moment that I can pack into that hour. So I think, yeah, I think I would have done a lot more when it comes to preparation before getting on stage.
That's awesome. I like that. I like that a
Yeah.
lot. Well, we are going to be switching gears. We like to call this the final
Hmm.
drop. So I'm going to hit you with a few rapid fire questions. Don't think too hard.
Hmm.
Just go with your first
Okay.
answer. All right. We're,
Okay.
we're going to start off with favorite venue.
Oh, uh, 45 East in Portland.
Favorite set you have ever played.
Red Rocks, 2021, when I was supporting Zed's Dead.
Oh, that's a good one. Favorite
Yeah.
song you have ever made.
Oh my God. Um, Probably, either Scars in Stereo or Going Insane.
That's a good one. Sunrise or sunset set.
Oh, that's so hard. Oh, oh, fuck. I guess Sunset. Sunset.
Sunset. US or Australia crowd?
No, I can't do that. I
Skip,
mean,
skip.
both, skip, but for different reasons. US for one reason and Australia for another.
Would you like to do a pre-planned or freestyle?
Freestyle.
Freestyle. Dream
Always.
collab.
Oh, probably Zed's Dead. Uh, I have three. Zed's Dead, Labyrinth, or Billie Eilish.
What that? Those are so incredible.
Yeah,
I can see
all
you hitting all
together.
three.
All
Oh my
together.
gosh. It's like
Mega
what would be
collab.
your your blunt circle rotation? That
Yes,
would be
that's
that
it. That's
perfectly.
the one.
Okay. Let's see. I mean, we talked about this previously, but what's your dream festival to play right now?
I mean, EDC, it's in my head. But
Yeah.
beforehand, Shambhala was the first.
Yeah,
That was
that's
the
a good one.
first one that I was like, I need to play this festival.
Favorite artist right now?
Ooh. Um, that's a tough one. Probably either Effen or Sully.
Yeah. Yeah. They're
Yeah, I've been
both
listening
really good right
to
now.
both of those guys a lot at the moment.
They've been going up. It's awesome.
Hmm.
Tequila or vodka?
Oh my God. I mean, I'm a tequila girly now. I prefer the taste of vodka, but for reasons of getting older, I am a tequila girly now.
What is your favorite double right now?
Oh, um, yeah, probably. I don't know. I feel like I have to skip that
Skip that.
because the doubles. Yeah, no, you have to skip that.
All right. Well, what's on your green room writer? Like your go-to? What's something that you have to have in the
Go
green room?
to, um, probably like it's gonna sound so boring, but like liquid IV
Hey,
and
hydration
water.
queen. Yes.
Yes, because I'm normally like, especially after I play, I'm like, ugh, I feel like
Where
that
is
SpongeBob
it?
moment. Like, I need it. Like, it's
Yes.
very much like liquid IV and water.
That's funny. It's like yours. Like it's so boring, but I only like the green M&Ms or something.
Yeah,
Or it's like
yeah,
I need my degrees to be at like this certain amount in the room at all times. I
yes,
love like reading the articles and all like the artists like things that they need. It's awesome.
yeah, yeah.
If there was a go-to food on tour to help you get through, if it's like a snack or something, what's your power through snack?
So this, I mean, cheese, just cheese in
Oh
general.
yeah.
But I will say something that just gets me through is just like a plain old butter croissant.
Ooh.
Like I'm just like, I just need the bread, the carbs. That's like one thing where it's like you can find it almost anywhere, and it's like I haven't eaten, but like that's it. Like just give me a croissant. Like I don't care if it's warmed up or not. Like just fucking like help me survive.
That's awesome. And all right, last one's gonna be your go-to tour essential. If it's earplugs, if it's
Oh, earplugs for sure. I
earplugs.
think like yeah, I think I can survive with almost anything. Like I've forgotten makeup, I've forgotten everything, but earplugs is the one that I'm like, if I don't have those, I'm like, oh,
Yeah, I don't want to
yeah.
be hearing. I don't
Probably
want to be
earplugs, and you know what else? AirPods.
AirPods.
I could, yeah, I literally like have three AirPods, like, because like, I just have them stashed in case. Like, if I got on a flight and didn't have AirPods, like,
Oh
I,
yeah. Oh
I
no.
would not be okay.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like,
I
yeah.
trust me. I didn't. I was not a flyer before, like probably 2 years ago, and I didn't have AirPods in the first flight that I had. I didn't have any headphones, and I remember being like, "Boyfriend, I can't do this." Like,
I
and
can't,
so
I'm not going to get through. I'm not
he
going to
got
get
me
through.
AirPods for my birthday, and I ended up. I was
Oh
like,
my
"This is
God.
a game changer!" Like,
Yeah.
what are these?
Literally. Like mine, I have like on this little thing, and it's like, it's attached to my pants at all times because
Oh yeah. Oh
I'm
yeah.
like, they're in and out the whole time. I literally, you can even right here, I have a spare pair. Like, you just, like, I don't know what it is, but it's like all my headphones can break. Like, I don't even care as long as I've
But
got like
these
a set of these. It's
AirPods.
like, yeah, yeah,
That's
100%.
awesome. Well, that was the final drop. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. It was truly such an honor to be able to
Thank
interview
you so
you.
much. I'm sorry I yapped
Oh, we're
hella,
both
but you know
yappers. I
what?
like
Like,
that a lot. It's okay.
you can cut out
We'll
plenty of
cut
like,
some.
okay, Sippy went on a side tangent about fucking life. Like,
10 minutes later.
yeah, literally. You can edit that in. Like,
That's awesome.